And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho, coming at you from the Smash Bunker here at the Smash News Network. We're showing you a 48-hour video here in 193 angstroms wavelength of the local yellow dwarf, otherwise known as the Sun. We're currently receiving the leading edge of a coronal hole wind stream, which emanated from this coronal hole up here, behind that active region we've been keeping an eye on for the past week or so. And when I say eye on, oh well, the pun is intentional. Let's go have a look at what's going on from a different perspective. Lagrange point 5. So if you're not familiar with Lagrangian points, there are Lagrangian points. Lagrange 1 is in between Earth and Sun, 2 is behind the Earth, 3 is on the opposite side where people think Nibiru is hiding, 4 is where stereo B is located, and A is where stereo A is located. And we're showing you the coronal mass ejection that's yet to eject. It's just built up there, somewhere around the Earth-facing region. It looks like it's around the solar equator and areas north. So there is some plasma filamentation out there that's tough to see from the perspective of the SDO or the LASCO. Also, we wanted to show you spaceship. So tell all the silliest YouTube channels about this spaceship that we discovered here. Please tell your friends and foes, science noobs and science pros, that it's, oh my god, it's a spaceship. It's such a weird spaceship that it only appears in the ionized emission spectra of helium, but for some reason, it's got to be a spaceship. Just kidding, folks. It's a filamentary, it's a coronal mass ejection of ionized helium. Anyway, I just wanted to bring up the full disk image here in 304 angstroms to see if we can get a little better indication of where those filaments are located. I mean, I would expect them to all be in the northern hemisphere at least. And we do see some evidence of it in these areas. The synoptic map is showing a couple little spots sort of around the equator, I think, as well as up here. And it's tough to really tell just by looking at stereo A and by this. But those do all appear to be in the north. And not yet ejected. So again, there's that view from stereo A out at Lagrange 5. And again, we are seeing a coronal hole wind stream show up right now. We've got some extreme close-ups here from HelioViewer of that plage. A perfect view here in 304 angstroms as it sets over the northwestern limb. And you can see the way there's some ionized helium raining back down into the center of that, and it is two massive polarity regions there. That is a South Pole oriented portion. The leading portion is a North Pole oriented portion because that is a cycle 25 plage. Here's the view in 171 angstroms. Even slightly more spectacular. Allow me to get out of the way. And there's that view. Just spectacular view of that non-sunspot. As well as the coronal hole behind it there, visible in 171 angstroms as it trails that active region. And there does appear to be some correlation between coronal holes and active regions. We'll get into it at a later time, perhaps in a cosmology segment. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux, down to 71 solar flux units now. And for those new viewers out there, thanks for tuning in. The radio flux is very similar to sunspot number. So we can use that other piece of data there. You can see in 2017 you got this very similar spike in radio flux and sunspot number, and that is a common thing, and that is a measurement of the radio output of the solar outer corona. The KP index, a measurement of global geomagnetism at 1. We will cover cosmic rays in the second half of the video. Here's the GOES X-ray flux. We don't see any solar flares happening, no sunspots. Proton flux remains quite flatlined here, no major coronal mass ejection strikes. And here's the signature of this coronal hole. You can see right here the density jumps up without a change in the velocity. And then it jumps up more at the same time here. That looks like a little bit of coronal mass ejecta striking at the same time. Don't expect that to be a big deal or a big hitch in terms of this incoming coronal hole wind stream. We're going to see an uptick in the solar wind speed, and it might be an extreme one. We might see this go back up to 600 or so, but for a brief period because it's a fairly small coronal hole compared to the last one. Don't be surprised to see this jump up to like 600 kilometers per second. There is a massive electron storm going on, and that accelerates those solar protons. So here is the solar wind density is currently around 6.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Current solar wind speed 362. Don't be surprised to see this nearly double, if not double, over the next 12 hours actually. And I expect it to be a short-lived coronal hole wind stream lasting less than 24 hours. Here's the magnetosphere, 4 hours of data, courtesy of University of Michigan's Space Weather Modeling Framework, Geospace Model V1.5. And we see a pretty weak magnetohydrodynamic pressure here. But again, there are a lot of electrons in those Van Allen belts, which are suspending all that plasma. Here is the magnetic perturbation situation. Looking a little bit closer to home here during this polar excursion. And we'll just let that play through a second time here as it's refreshed. Are you refreshed? I've returned. And by the way, the reason I wear the glasses is because I want my face to be hollow so you can see more of what we're showing via my screen share. Or perhaps you'll even see our logo for the Smash News Network. By the way, today's daily space weather video, we're going to talk about sharks being jumped, the sun pumped, science junked, and big tech and big media get punked. Here's some more data for you, the GOES magnetometer. And we're seeing more spiky graphs here for GOES magnetometer data. And again, there's a whole bunch of plasma in between us and the sun, plus massive electron belts out there. So don't expect to see this smooth out despite us being in the South Pole current sheet solidly, as shown here in red. This is the top view ecliptic plane field plot of the magnetic environment. It's the heliosphere. It's the heliospheric current sheet polarity. And this is from 51 ground-based magnetometers, as well as one out here on stereo A and one out here on stereo B. And we do see some evidence of activity south of the solar equator here out by stereo A. Perhaps you can see a sunspot if you go look at stereo A's data. We won't be doing it today. We don't want the video to be too long. Here is the line of sight field plot, which shows you the B field in blue. No major perturbations there. Here's the coronal field plot. We do see a lot of coronal hole potential field force lines there in purple around the solar equator. Closed potential field force lines at the South Pole, and open potential field force lines in between the equator and the South Pole. And welcome to another edition of the Smash Lights, part of the Smash News Network. And we've had requests to do this content, and sometimes we release it exclusively, sometimes it's part of the daily space weather, and sometimes it's completely by itself. Sometimes these will only appear on BitChute, depending on how controversial and how enraged I get and how much cursing I find myself doing. Yes. Today's Smash Lights will feature some shark jumping and some cosmology stuff. Let's get to it. By the way, we do stream live most days to Twitch. If you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. In fact, the video cannot continue until you press like and subscribe on YouTube. Our other subscribers will be very cross with you if you don't press like and subscribe and the notification bell, because we want Google to send you emails all the time whenever we produce content. It will make you feel much less enraged. Seriously though, we've had this video remonetized here, the Smash Light segment that we did over on Saturday. It was over 50 minutes long. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. Here's a clip.
Yes. Heiko Schoening is a respected doctor who was arrested in Speaker's Corner. Yes, I did see that. Kester, thanks for the comment. Health. People are worried about blood pressure, but you can also monitor your blood oxygen.
Yes, monitor your blood oxygen. Head to smashamash.com/affiliate and buy yourself a blood oxygen monitor, a pulse oximeter. Also, don't forget to check us out on BitChute. It's another part of the Smash News Network. There's exclusive content, such as our video from March 19th, 6 months ago, about hydroxychloroquine. If you didn't know, well, we covered it about 2 hours after it became plausible. Are you familiar with Africa? How low the fatality rate is in Africa? Hydroxychloroquine is available over the counter there. Do you follow us on Twitter? We've got over 1,800 tweets. And my Twitter feed is pretty epic. I've actually pinned this image for all of you science-denying folks who believe carbon dioxide is the, quote, climate control knob. Please show your knob-like friends this graph. You could convince even the dumbest of your friends that CO2 does not drive the climate. Since it doesn't drive the climate, and this is not contested information here, by the way, this is pretty much agreed in terms of proxy data. By the way, CO2 is still not a pollutant, and it's still not responsible for climate change, you science noobs. I retweeted one of Biden's posts. Since the economy, climate change, healthcare, civil rights, racial justice, the U.S. Supreme Court, and our democracy, which doesn't exist since we live in a constitutional republic, are all on the line. Literally each issue could be worsened under the empty suit puppet presidency of a leftist like Joe Biden. Joe Biden-Harris. Biden-Harris 2020. Covidiacy and corruption ticket for the win. Let's talk about our October contest. We've announced an October contest. It's more like a sweepstakes. All you got to do is head to smashamash.com/forum. Go to any of the forums, and you'll see a pinned post saying October contest announced. Just go there, click on reply, and click sign and write sign me up. And we may hook you up with a free shirt. We're going to use a quantum number generator to randomly select a winner. We haven't disclosed the design of the shirt yet because, frankly, it's not completed. Let's talk about COVID. Are you scared and spooked? Have you bought yourself a UV wand? Now, I've got a UV wand. It's right here. And, you know, if you're very scared and spooked, head to smashamash.com/affiliate. You could get yourself one of these. And I don't want to get it too close, because if I get it too close, it's going to... Oh, my God. A little bit of UVC, and it's just... See ya. Allow me to reappear. There we go. Yes. Yes. A UV wand. It's like $23. So head to smashamash.com/affiliate and go around. You can walk down the street and you can just sterilize everybody and cause vision problems and blind people and get sued. Yes. A little bit of UVC never hurt anybody. Please don't stare into the UVC wand. It's bad for your vision. All right, and let's talk about COVID, because we've got a lot of shark jumpers. A lot of shark jumpers. Now, here at the SNN, the least busted name in news, the Smash News Network, we don't jump the shark. Because, well, frankly, reality is funnier than fake news. Now, I don't know if you're aware. Here's a little fake news for you. Government grants have been issued to COVIDians to, wait for it, it's on the marquee. Look at the bottom of the screen. COVIDiotic news agencies are receiving government funding to lie to you. All right, just kidding, folks. No, they probably are. Let's talk about shark jumpers. I'm going to read you some headlines here. Check this out. Vox.com. Yes, let's check out their extremely informative news stories. Let's see if they fearmonger about COVID. If Trump has learned anything from getting COVID, he's not showing it. Is Trump sicker than his doctors are saying? Are you freaking out because Trump seems just fine after 72 hours of showing symptoms? Everyone in the White House cluster who has said they tested positive for COVID. Was it a super spreader event? The U.S. has reported more than 97,000 new cases since his positive test. Oh my God. It's so scary. I'm very scared. Hey, for you can... I'm very scared and spooked. Let's see what HuffPo has to say. Is the president's case more severe? Why is he taking dexamethasone? Oh my God, it's very scary and spooky. Have you purchased yourself a souvenir from COVID? Well, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. Obviously, if you're watching the video, you've survived one so far. Check this out. I'm currently wearing one of our shirts. It's the I've Survived a Global Pandemic So Far shirt, which features the Grim Reaper motif. There you go. As well as a giant planetary-sized COVID virus. Oh my God, it's so scary. Congratulations on surviving so far. I survived a global pandemic, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. You can link to all of that at smAsho.com, by the way. Sanjay Gupta says they're hiding things. Oh my God, they're hiding things. By the way, you don't have to divulge any health information to anybody. You don't even have to tell your doctor your protected health information if you don't want to. In fact, you can go down to the hospital and you can take all your medical records for your very own, since they belong to you, not to the media, or to even your doctors or your insurers or anybody else. Your health information is private and can only be used to facilitate things that require the health information, such as like an insurance contract or your medical treatment or something like that. Oh my God, he leaves hospital and waves to protest to supporters, and Biden tests negative again. Well, thank goodness. I was very scared. I hope Biden doesn't get COVID. He looks less healthy than Trump. New Jersey health officials say hundreds of Trump fundraiser guests have been exposed to COVID-19. Oh my God. Horrified Walter Reed attending physician slammed Trump's drive-by by risk to Secret Service. Whew, wow, I'm spooked. Hey, we're still jumping sharks here. Now, yesterday we talked about Science.com, and we talked about Scientific American, and we talked about some other shark jumper. How about BuzzFeed News? What happens if a presidential candidate dies near the election? Here at the Smash News Network, we're not going to fearmonger. I've been saying since January 23rd that coronaviruses aren't scary for healthy people. I said they're not particularly dangerous for healthy people. There's a huge thread on that, by the way. It's in the free-for-all forum at smashomash.com/forum. Now, I read BuzzFeed, HuffPo, and Vox nearly every day because I like to hear what crazy people are saying. Because they are freaking out that Trump ain't died of the COVID. Trump ain't died of the COVID, which means we're going to die of the Trump. We're going to have Trump. We're going to be dead. We're going to be dead if we don't get rid of Trump. Oh my God. The health of the planet itself is leveraged versus of Joe Biden presidency. Oh my God, I'm so scared. In any case, folks, the point is, please don't jump the shark. It's not worth it. It hurts your credibility. It makes you look like an idiot. And let's talk cosmology. Now, I don't know if you're aware of Deneb. Deneb is one of the only known point sources for cosmic ray flux. The distance between Deneb and the Sun is somewhere between, I'm going to say, 37,000 light years. How far is 37,000 light years? Well, it's a long way. Let me show you how long. If the Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across, it's like 20% of the way across the Milky Way galaxy. So, for instance, you're way out here in the Sagittarius arm in the outskirts of the galaxy. Deneb is way in here in the Cygnus arm. And it's in this rift zone. But the point is that Deneb is able to get cosmic rays, physical objects like neutrons, since they're traveling at nearly light speed when they come out of X3's poloidal field, they make it all the way to our solar system. What are the real inputs of the field-aligned currents that are coming into the sun? What are the real inputs? What are the implications of those inputs? What are the levels that the inputs can reach? Well, it's really not known, but it's a common X-ray source. It has this extremely distinctive 4.79 hour periodicity, and it's one of the only sources for cosmic rays. One of the only known point sources for cosmic rays, and that has to do with its periodicity. The fact that we can detect that periodicity from Earth in cosmic ray detectors is interesting to say the least. We do cover cosmic rays regularly on the Daily Space Weather video, and we're going to cover it today. Here are some cosmic rays. So the Apatity Neutron Monitor and the Barentsburg Neutron Monitor, they're located very far north. And we can see an uptick here of cosmic ray flux over the past week. However, it's quite flat over the past 30 days. Barentsburg, same deal, an uptick over the past week, flat over the past 30 days. Let's go farther south, where the air is denser, to Athens, Greece. Now, these are all pressure-corrected values here, as we don't look at non-pressure corrected values because, well, pressure affects cosmic ray flux, at least the detectability of cosmic ray flux. And we see this uptick over the past week at Athens as well, and a small uptick over the past month. Next, looking at Mexico City, going even farther south. And you see once again an uptick in the past week. A small uptick similar to Athens over the past 30 days. And lastly, let's check out Oulu and DOMC Antarctica, going very, very far south after going very far north. Oulu, Finland. There you can see an uptick in the past week as well. Small uptick over the past 30 days. Here's DOMC Antarctica. Same deal. So we've actually seen a real increase over the past week, but over the past 30 days, not a real increase. If you want to monitor them yourself, check out the network of cosmic ray stations. Type in links to cosmic ray data in a search like duckduckgo.com where you'll get objective results, and you will find that site. I like it because it's got all the links there, and it's easy to share and view. Next, we're going to look at the X-ray transients. Now we're looking at photons here instead of physical objects blasting through space at nearly light speed. Now we're looking at things moving at actual light speed. Photons in the form of X-rays. These are the X-ray emissions from Cygnus X3. And this gives us some insight into its behavior. You can see it's got this extreme periodicity. It's got a very significant range. And the baseline for X3 is at somewhere like 0.03 counts. You can see one of the most powerful transients we've seen out of it in a long time actually just occurred, followed by sort of a ramp down. Right now it's kind of at the lower part of its mid-range here. It's in a very average range. And this is the daily, by the way. This shows that 4.79 hour periodicity. We're waiting to see this pop back up from a quiescent state. And let's just say it's an interesting object. If you want to read all about it, head to smAsho.com/forum, go to the Cosmology Forum, and you can find out all about it there. There's a pretty lengthy document. Here's where it's located. I'm going to move this. I'm going to zoom out and show you where the core of the Milky Way is. There's the core of the Milky Way, way over there. And this is located in this rift zone here. And it's featured in a lot of mythology. The Tale of the Swan, the stork myth, how the stork brings babies, that myth about storks. Here it is in X-ray, by the way, which I believe it does show. I believe this does actually show you the radio jet. This is X-ray emissions out of the radio jet, I would imagine. And let's just go a little more in depth into this. Here are the radio jets. And we like talking cosmology on the Smash News Network. Let me just check the life of the stream here real quick. So, this is a Wolf-Rayet star. This is a giant star. It's very blue. It's got about 10 times the output in terms of solar wind speed and density of the sun. It's huge also. It would be about, in fact, let me go back here. This is the actual relative size of Deneb versus the sun. If it were in our solar system, it would be about the size of Mars's orbit. It's being orbited by this object right here, all right? In between these two objects, there's an ionized disk of gas. And out of this massive object, there are two radio jets. So one of the radio jets is pointed directly at us. It's this blue one. The other one is pointed away from us, which is this red one here. And what this tells us is that there's some sort of there's essentially a pipeline, an ionization pipeline in between this quite distant star. And by the way, this is the most intrinsically luminous object visible in the galaxy from the perspective of Earth. So anyway, the point is, what are the inputs? Why did the ancients call this the swan? Is it because the incoming radio jet looks like a bird in flight? I don't know. But it's quite interesting. And do these striations in the radio jet pattern indicate the precessional cycle of the wobble of this object? Of course, it probably does have some sort of a precessional wobble, as you would expect most objects orbiting each other in space to do so. And does this have to do with the Earth's catastrophe cycle? I've got to say yes, because this thing is jumping up and down saying, here I am, here I am. How come nobody seems to notice me, even though we detected cosmic rays as a point source from this object in 1985? Here's a Fermi image of it, and you can see the galactic core is way over here. Cygnus is way out there. It's kind of the last really beefy, dense spiral arm, sort of to the left of the galactic core, if you're viewing it from that sort of angle. They're calling it a microquasar, a quark star, a supermassive black hole, and all kinds of things. Again, if you want to read all about it, head to the Cosmology Forum at smashomash.com/forum. And here ends another episode of the Smash Lights. Cheers. And please don't forget to tell your friends and foes about the content. Let's get back to some space weather data. We see an ongoing electron storm, and we've got charging hazards, we've got problems with GPS communications, and so on. Don't be surprised to see issues. Blame it on the electrons. Here are the current charging hazards, and you can see the entire southern hemisphere around the equator could be experiencing charging hazards. If your spacecraft are there, we hope they're well grounded. The forecast model is calling for it to remain relatively flat. Here is the 7-day graph, and we've been in alert territory for a solid week here. And yesterday we reached about 26 times the alert levels. So don't expect this to, actually we do expect this to subside a little bit here as this coronal hole wind stream shows up. Let's see what happens. Here is, excuse me, here is the total air column, all the way from the thermosphere down, showing us the total electron content. Don't be surprised to see major GPS errors if you're using a GPS around the equator at noon. Here's just the ionosphere shell. This is just one layer of what we were just seeing. That was the whole air column. Here's just the ionosphere. It's looking fairly normal here. Nothing to really write home about there. Final image coming in at 8:45 Universal Time. Here's a star chart for you. Where will you be when Cygnus sets? When will Deneb set? Well, it doesn't set all summer, but in the wintertime, in the fall actually, it looks like it's going to set about 6:37 my time. If you're up before dawn, you may see the third brightest object in the sky, my favorite planet, one that I forecasted on Scrying with smAsho to be switching places with Mars. I did not know that possible life would be discovered on Venus through phosphine evidence in the atmosphere. Who knew? Here's what's going on in the solar system, looking a little bit closer to home. Here's where things will be in a week, and it still looks like Frito-Lay may be attempting to take over the solar system by creating isosceles triangles via the orbits of via the orbits of Earth, Venus, and Mercury. Please leave us a comment if you think Doritos are trying to take over the universe. We don't see any major earthquakes over the past 24. Thanks for leaving comments. Be stoic. I don't know what Leonard birds are. I don't know how you figure Deneb is related to magnetic monopoles. Let's get back to earthquakes. Here's a deep quake coming in at 9:23 yesterday near Fiji. It's very deep, at nearly 560 kilometers and a 4.5 magnitude. So again, no major earthquakes here. Here's a deep one in the Philippines. This is one of the largest of the past 24. It's a 5.6 magnitude at over 120 kilometers depth. And the major earthquake drought continues, folks. There is a major drought of earthquakes of the 7, 8, and 9 magnitude over the past, I'll say, 2 years. Here's a 4.8 at Indonesia. That one's at depth 213 kilometers. If you're in an earthquake-prone zone, please have a plan to be an asset, not a liability. If buildings start to fall, have an idea which ones may, and don't get under them as the shaking happens and you try to evacuate yours. Let's look at volcanodiscovery.com as we see some new volcanoes on the list. Langila exploding, producing a 6,000-foot ash plume. It wasn't there yesterday. Today it is. Tokono also exploding. Flight level 7,000 feet there. Flight level 070, a 7,000-foot ash plume. Popocatépetl down there in central Mexico, a place where I totally want to go check out that volcano, has dissipated. Fuego's exploding, producing a 15,000-foot ash plume. Sangay is exploding, producing a 20,000-foot ash plume. Revenador is exploding, producing a 14,000-foot ash plume. Sabancaya exploding, producing a 25,000-foot ash plume. It's quite a list. Volcanoes be exploding, folks. Villarrica produced a moderate Vulcanian-type eruption and about a 1,500-foot tall plume of gray ash. And Soufrière de Guadeloupe in West Indies, France, has shown a seismic swarming, showing 306 low-magnitude quakes. It could be setting to blow up. I don't know quite much at all about Soufrière de Guadeloupe. Thanks, volcanodiscovery.com. Here's your weather.gov map. And all the alarmism about the tropical storms around the Gulf might not be as bad as you think. We'll get to it in a minute. We see extreme meridional jet stream flow here in the western world. Check it out. Check out this kink. Here's the jet stream of the eastern world, or jet streams, I should say, as there's a separate one in the northern and southern hemisphere. Or there's supposed to be. And we still see the jet stream blowing the wrong way here over the western Pacific and the entire Indian Ocean. Pilots would agree that that's kind of strange. Next, looking at tropical tidbits here for the total precip forecast. Again, most of that rain's going to fall in the Gulf, although it's now getting closer to Louisiana. Let's hope they don't receive the 16 inches of rain or possibly even 2 feet of rain forecasted here for the Gulf. They're still going to get quite a lot, though. This big swath. Expect some flooding in there, possibly. That forecast is through. That's total precipitation forecast through Sunday, October 11th. So we're giving you almost a week forecast there. 3-day forecasts are much more accurate. There's the forecast through Thursday at 1800 Universal Time. So some rain going to fall there in southern Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, most assuredly. Let's hope it's not like 12 inches. Here are water vapor maps. Shout out to our African and European viewers. There's what's going on above your head in terms of water vapor. Shout out to our Far Eastern and Oceanian viewers. There's your water vapor situation. Here's the water vapor situation for the Americas. Shout out to our viewers from south of the equator. Here are the pressure maps, planet-wide. We're advancing this into the GFS forecast. We'll pause it at about tomorrow noontime. And that's noon local time for me. There's 1 p.m. actually local time for me. And we've got a major anticyclone out here. I'm going to name that one. It's the Jake Tapper anticyclone. Maybe the next one will be the Sanjay Gupta. We're going to keep an eye on the Jake Tapper anticyclone, though. It's crucially important to name anticyclones. And we still see major lightning striking the Caribbean. I like to use lightningmaps.org when I hear thunder. It'll actually give you the thunderclap forecast. You can see that expanding wave. That's the estimated sound wave. And here's the lightning mapper. It's the NASA GOES 16 lightning mapper. And there's the lightning situation down there, a more visual representation of it. And we do see a little bit of lightning kicking up in the southern reaches of that tropical system down there. It's about due south of the Florida Panhandle / western southeastern Alabama border. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map. And some rain moving across Pennsylvania. It's going to rain on me today. Here's the section for all you weather pornographers. We're going to zoom in on the Gulf. And there's the cloud layer in the Gulf. Even though it's dark, we can still cover it using the NASA GOES shortwave satellite. We actually see a strong counterclockwise rotation down here. So that system is not quite lined up coherently yet. Here's the water vapor map of the same area. Just give us a minute to load that. Again, we are streaming live. And you can see the cause for some of the stagnation to this system here, as there is a large swath of much drier, more massive air to its north, providing a bit of a buffer. And it would be actually helpful if the jet stream would push more cold air down here, but it's going to slowly make its way to the north. Thanks to our patrons, the true source of funding for the content here at the Smash News Network. Please consider becoming a Patreon. It's patreon.com/smashamash. We've got 9 tiers. We'll be making changes to the tiers by the end of the year. Thanks again to our patrons. It's patreon.com/smashamash. You may find yourself getting alerts and ringtones and all kinds of other media if you set up an account there. Thanks to the Smash team for sharing the content on your social media, etc. Now I've vanished. By the way, if you'd like to join the Smash team, head to smashamash.com, click on the smAsho store, and perhaps pick up a shirt, maybe a Mansa shirt, or what about Smasher Price My First Pandemic? Anyway, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. If you want the Smash Team shirt, click on the Smash store. Again, linkable at smashamash.com. If you're going hunting this year, perhaps pick up a Blaze Orange. I may actually get one of these myself. By the way, your satisfaction is 100% guaranteed for the first 30 days. At Teespring. By the way, thanks for flying American Smashways, the official fake airline of the non-fake Smash News Network. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. We've got bonus features. We're going to use 94 angstroms. We're going to show you the intensity gram to show you 0 sunspots. We're going to show you the synoptic map to show you where the drawer of the illustrator of the map thinks there are filaments. We're going to hope the magnetogram really loads. And there's the colorized magnetogram. Not a lot of magnetic organization going on. A weak solar disk right now. Here is the current synoptic map. And you can see a little bit of filaments drawn in here and here and here, as well as over here. Will they erupt today, folks? Here's the intensity gram to show you 0 sunspots. No need to look too hard. And oh, look, we found another spaceship. Of course, this one will only be visible in 94 angstroms, a UV emission spectral state of ionized iron. Here's a 48-hour SDO video. It's still loading, and I don't have the patience to wait for it. Oh my God, look at all the spaceships. Call Mr. MBB333 and Gina Maria Colvin Hill. Have you seen Gina Maria Colvin Hill's latest video where she dances for 6 minutes? If that doesn't encourage you to knife yourself, I don't know what does. Please don't knife yourself. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, attempt to understand the physics. Don't drink, even no matter how much the government and corporations and big tech and big media drive you to want to drink. But if you do, don't drive. In fact, don't drive, period. I might be out there and I don't want to see you. I would like to see less traffic. Stare at the sun, and may that solar wind be at your back and that atherosclerosis absent from your arteries and that covidiocy gone from existence, period.